Oh, no. This is not good. Biden just had a big fall on stage at the U.S. Air Force Academy graduation.
Oh, no. I think he'll be okay, but whoa. It's not like he fell off the stage. He just tripped.
No.
Ooh, it doesn't look good, but he could have broke something. Well, I hope he's okay.
I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we just had this whole talk about it. Yeah. I mean, it's just.
But again, I think these kinds of physical things are normal, and I think people need to be much more empathetic about that kind of stuff.
I mean, he was riding a bike over the summer last year, I remember. And he looked great.
Yeah, look, I mean, FDR was in a wheelchair. So I don't care about that. All I care about is mental acuity.
Yeah.
Me too.
Hope he's okay.
By the way, I want him to be well enough to run because I'm scared of some of the other Democratic candidates they might put up.
Say more.
You know? Like, I don't want to get a President Newsom or a President Harris. I mean, I don't think Biden is very good, but I think he's better than Harris or Newsom.
Biden drops out. Who's the lead candidate in your mind?
RFK.
Really? Wow.
I would prefer RFK to Biden, but I think what will happen if Biden drops out is we'll get a flood of establishment Democrat candidates in the race. Newsom, maybe J.B. Pritzker, Harris for sure.
There's a lot of differences between the left and the right, but the one similarity is that there's a large amount of voters in both of those blocks who don't fundamentally like these establishment candidates. And I think that sentiment is exactly the same. And so, you can have a pro-Trump wave on the right, just like you could have a pro-RFK wave on the left. And they are solidified by the same idea, which is, I think you're going to see more and more outsiders have a chance through the nomination process to get in.
I think the Democrat Party will stop it. I mean, they shut down Bernie Sanders. Yeah. Remember that? It was Sanders against Hillary Clinton. And they
shivved him.
They rigged the primary against him. Wait, am I allowed to use that word?
Oh, they just labeled the episode.
No, but look, I mean, the establishment in the Democratic Party has a huge influence over the outcome because they control the superdelegates, right? They'll never.
Wouldn't Newsom supercharge the Republican base? I mean, being like a coastal elite and what's happened with San Francisco and LA, I think that just drives out the Trump voters in a massive way. That
I said like over a year ago, I thought that that 2024 would be a Newsom DeSantis race. I still think there's like a 20% chance of that.
Wow, that would be wild. It'd be wild.
Maybe 10%.
What about Joe Manchin? What's the story there? Anybody have any insights on Joe Manchin?
We had a phenomenal dinner at my house last week. He is so charming.
What? Okay.
So what? You knew this? What are you talking about?
I don't know if you publicly disclosed it or not.
Well, it's already happened. We had a fabulous dinner, and he met a lot of people here, and he's amazing.
Did Sacks come to that
dinner?
And
Heather's amazing. Heather's amazing too. His daughter, who she ran, I think it was Mylan Pharmaceutical, incredible executive.
Joe Manchin would jump in, yeah? You think, Chamath?
Manchin's fabulous.
If Biden wasn't in, Joe Manchin would jump in, you think?
I don't know.
Percentage chance?
I don't want to speculate on anything like that, but I think he's an amazing American patriot.
Is that your guy, Friedberg? Would you go Joe Manchin because he wants to control spending?
I don't know enough.
All right.
I'll tell you, one of the reasons why I like RFK Jr. is that, there's so many issues that he's deviating from Democratic Party orthodoxy. He's in favor of free speech and against censorship. He's in favor of civil liberties and against this like massive surveillance state that we've created. And on foreign policy, he wants to end all the crazy wars. And I would say that of all the candidates I've heard, he understands the situation in Ukraine the most deeply. Now, both Trump and DeSantis have called for a ceasefire, and that's good. And I think RFK would work towards a ceasefire too. But RFK Jr. goes deeper and explains how the whole situation in Ukraine came about. And so he understands it very deeply.
All right, folks, there you have it. Another episode of the AllinPodcast for the dictator, the architect, David Sacks, and I won't call him.
No, he's a kingmaker. No, he's kingmaker.
I like architect better. But, okay, kingmaker, sure.
Kingmaker.
What do you like better,
like
architect?
Fake news.
You like architect or kingmaker? It's fake news.
It's crazy. The whole thing was just like made up.
No, but I know. But as a nickname, which one do you prefer?
As a nickname, what do you prefer? Architect?
Which one do you prefer?
Or king?
Well, what do the articles say? Kingmaker?
The article said kingmaker. I said architect. I think architect is more Svengali-ish.
The article is about a call that never happened.
Fake news.
With a person you don't know.
With a person I don't know.
Right. Okay. That aside, what nickname would you like us to use going forward? Kingmaker
Putting
or architect?
aside that the whole article was made up.
Yes. Putting that aside.
Architect?
Can I go with Kingmaker? I like Kingmaker.
I like architect.
But it's
Come
so
on.
silly.
Mr. Secretary, please tell us which one.
Yeah, Secretary of State.
Look, I'm a mid-level donor, mid at best.
You're mid?
They're mid at best.
Subreddits are going crazy right now.
Mid at best. And then influencer, I'm mid at best. So
Can you be Secretary of State?
I'm mid. However, it's true that there are very few podcasters who probably donate anything.
You could be, yeah. Henry Kissinger and Madeleine Albright, highest ranking foreign-born citizens to lead.
Yes, I think that you would be an
Secretary
exceptional Secretary of State. I'm just going to put that out
So
there.
you could be Secretary of State, cabinet member.
I think you would kick
be Secretary
ass.
of State.
Because you have the intellectual firepower to actually not get bamboozled on this stuff.
You'd hold your ground.
You know who actually I think was pretty good on foreign policy, who doesn't get any credit, was Jared Kushner. I was listening to an interview with him, and this happened like 8 months ago, and he was describing the whole situation in Ukraine. And he says very clearly that he and Trump understood that bringing Ukraine into NATO was a red line for the Russians, and they never went there. So they armed Ukraine, but they were very careful to not make any statements about Ukraine coming into NATO. He understood that that was a serious provocation. I'll post the interview in the chat. But it was with, I think, Gerard Baker from the Wall Street Journal. So Jared understood the situation better than most of these, foreign policy elite establishment types who don't understand how their actions could be perceived as provocative by the other side.
Well, he sure secured the bag after getting out of that gig. $2 billion. Oof.
And he got the Abraham Accords done. And now Biden's just flushed it down the toilet because he's alienated the Saudis so much they've gone to the Chinese.
I mean, the fact that there's flights between Israel and the Middle East nations now, and they seem to have a common
It's pretty awesome.
enemy in
Jacob,
Iran.
I don't think you understand
great.
how much Biden has alienated the Saudis. Biden wouldn't shake the man's hand. What was the point of that?
I'm not in favor of Biden's.
Oh, yeah. What was that? Like a fist bump? Or they had a
bump.
pre-negotiated fist bump?
Yeah, it's a little...
How insulting is that?
The one thing I loved about Trump was he was willing to meet with anybody. My idea of foreign policy is meet with as many people as possible, as often as possible, and not go to war. I would meet with Kim Jong-un, Putin, Xi Jinping on the regular. Every country we should be meeting with, because that's how progress gets made. Not meeting with them is, it's not a reward. I think there's a part of this military industrial complex that believes a meeting with the president is a reward or an endorsement of the worst things anybody's ever done. It's not. It's a meeting to try to make the world safer or to try to build common ground. And so that is not me or Jim Cramer or however you want to try to frame it. It's intelligent. And I'm for intelligent foreign policy, which is talking to people. Let's talk about some people who said yes to come to All In Summit. Let's just do a quick speaker.
No, we don't have time. I got to go to lunch.
I love you guys.
I love you, besties.
Yeah, fuck this. I'm done with this shit.
Love you guys. Friedberg. I love you.
Fuck you,
See you
Friedberg.
tonight. See you
He's
tonight.
a total Sith Lord.
We'll let your winners ride.
Rain Man DavidSacks.
And instead, we open source it to the fans, and they've just gone crazy with it.
Love you, besties. Queen of Quinoa. Besties are gone.
That is my dog taking a notice in your driveway. Oh, man.
My haberdasher will meet me at Clinton. We should all just get a room and just have one big huge orgy because they're all just useless. It's like this sexual tension that they just need to release somehow.
Wet your beak. Wet your beak.
We need to get merch. Besties are back.
Going all in.